Visitors to our nursery usually see these large bonsai when they come into the entrance. So there are large garden pines, and these are the large European hornbeam, large English field maple, and these are all grown on the nursery. As you can see, the trunk is at least 2 foot in diameter at the base, and these have been developed over the last 30 years at Herons. And if we pan the camera around, you'll see our large Scotch pines, all grown on our nursery. Although these are verging onto garden trees, we have a lot of customers who in England have very large gardens, and they love displaying large bonsai like this in their gardens. So while they may not be small bonsai, they're nevertheless dwarf trees. So there are many examples of these lovely field-grown trees. Yet another example of our English field maple with the large trunk. Large European hornbeam. That's a large Japanese larch. This is an ordinary Scots pine. This is the English field maple again. These are all field-grown material. And this is a Siberian elm. It's very similar to the English elm, but for some reason I believe it's a Siberian elm. This is a particular favorite of mine. This is a Trident Maple that we imported back in 1993 from Japan, but they were imported as stumps. Back in 1993, I imported 50 stumps of Trident Maple, but they were only like 2 or 3 inches in diameter, absolutely straight, and about this high. And these have been grown in the field for the first 15 years to thicken the trunk, and then they were dug out, and then the branches were grown again. So if you walk around Herons, we still have about 10 of these left. We sold about 40. This is another beautiful example. And all these trees have been developed and refined at Herons. So although they were imported initially as stumps, they were nowhere near like this. They were just very tiny trees. But over the last 30 years, this is the end result. This is the Juniper, which I created for my second book, Bonsai Masterclass. You will find the example of this book when it started life in 1987. And this is what it looks like now. These are large trunk Japanese maple, straight Acer palmatum. I'm very fond of large trunk maples, and this is another fine example, grown from field-grown trees. These are all large trees. As you can see, we are very fond of the large trees. Another example of our Trident maples. And this is an ordinary Japanese maple with a thick trunk, made from garden trees. These are large Bovernensis pines. Another large Bovernensis pine with a big trunk. We supply a lot of these trees for communal gardens. When we make large Japanese gardens for clients, these are the trees they use. And we also have large junipers, lots of large junipers. This is a large San Jose juniper, and the trunk must be at least 6 or 8 inch in diameter, and it can be made into a large bonsai. And we must have about 100 of these large pines and junipers here. We just pan around and have a look. Another large juniper. This variety is called Grey Owl. It's a San Jose juniper. Would make a beautiful bonsai with wonderful driftwood. Another very large juniper, which I will have to dig up, but we will probably do a lot of air layering before we do that. And this is a Bourbonensis pine that has been trained for the last 30 years. It's been kept in a big pot because it'll end up probably as a large garden tree. This is a large Siberian Elm. As you can see, I'm air layering this so that I get a bonsai from this part to this part, and the low part will still end up as a very nice large trunk bonsai. And this tree, in case you don't know what it is a wisteria, not a wisteria, forsythia stump. Forsythia stump, covered in bud. Lots of carving to do on this, but just shows what you can do with the ordinary plants. It's all examples of large trees. This is Siberian Elm again. Hornbeams, horse chestnut. These 4 large garden pines were planted in the ground back in 1991, and they're ordinary Scotch pines, but as you can see, they are as good, if not better, than some of the imported Japanese white pine which are sold as garden trees. And these are all created from Scotch pine by regular pruning. And this is just using the field-grown techniques that we use on the nursery. This is an example of a juniper that I've been training for a long time. It's quite a large bonsai, but all this natural driftwood has come about by parts of the trunk dying, so none of it has been actually artificially carved. It's all happened from dieback, and it has never been shaped by wire, simply by cutting and growing, cut and grow method. So I hope one day someone will take it over and refine it and make it into a more beautiful specimen.